Hey everybody, welcome to day 34, part 3. Sorry, I got cut off yesterday. I'm having issues with my editing software, so let's pick up where we left off. We finished, or almost finished, talking about zinc. I just want to remind everybody again, if you're taking high dose zinc, meaning you're taking 50 milligrams or more a day, it's best to break up those doses. So maybe 25 milligrams in the morning, 25 milligrams at night. Again, I'm reminding you that 50 milligrams a day is high dose. 50 milligrams, for every 25 milligrams, if I were you, I would take 1 milligram of copper. The other thing that I want to start talking about is there's also strong evidence, I mentioned this in previous videos, that zinc likely antagonizes iron. So let's move on to our next topic, which is iron. We talked about iron and hemoglobin. We talked about anemia and how women are much more prone to be anemic. Why does that matter? Because we know that this virus attacks hemoglobin. We talked about the hemes. We talked about how we talked about how and why iron is so important when it comes to hemoglobin. And we talked about how the virus seems to be attaching, the viral proteins seem to be attaching to these hemes. And guys, at the core of hemoglobin is iron. So you have issues where if hemoglobin is an issue and you have low iron production as a female, this could be consequential. And if you're taking a lot of zinc, you could be making it even worse. Now, again, the temptation here would be, well, why don't I supplement with iron? You would need to know, are you in fact anemic? But supplementing with iron isn't necessarily something I would start doing unless you know for a fact you're anemic. And if you start supplementing with iron, recognize that what helps a lot with iron absorption is vitamin C. So vitamin C is something that you should be supplementing with anyway. Again, not to keep beating a dead horse here, but the therapy for vitamin C is intravenous vitamin C. I don't care how much oral vitamin C you consume, it will not cross the gut after a certain point. You will start just getting very loose stool, diarrhea at very high doses of vitamin C. There's nothing wrong if you want to keep taking more and more vitamin C orally. I mean, as long as you don't mind going to the bathroom and, basically pissing at your ass. But you don't need to do that. My point is that you need enough vitamin C. 500 to 1,000 milligrams a day is perfect. If you want to break up the capsule, put it in a bottle of water and sip it throughout the day, that's just fine. Again, it's water soluble. You could do that with your B vitamins, which are water soluble. But vitamin C helps tremendously with iron absorption. So if you know you're anemic and if you're taking high dose zinc, I would actually recommend that you think about consulting with your doctor on an iron supplement and taking vitamin C with it to maximize the iron absorption. Again, to antagonize the issue with zinc, you want to also take copper. We talked about tonic water, quinine specifically. Again, this has similar properties to the hydroxychloroquine, which allows more zinc into the cellular space. I can put a link right up here talking a little bit more about how zinc works as an antiviral within the cell. We went way back, day 1 or 2, talking about you can't just keep taking more and more oral zinc and think that it's going to permeate the cell. The whole point of the hydroxychloroquine is to allow the zinc to be ushered into the cellular space so that the cell, the intracellular space has more zinc inside of it. Quinine can help this permeability, and tonic water has it. The problem is that tonic water, I think that there's a tonic water that's stevia based. I don't remember the name of the company. I think it begins with a Z. But tonic water has a lot of sugar. So the issue here, guys, is 4 to 6 ounces is fine with your zinc. but it's like drinking soda. But there is a tonic water, if you look it up, I think that is stevia based, so if you want to use that. The other thing is you can just use, you can just buy the supplement. You can just buy quinine, you can buy it right on Amazon. It is in fact, Peruvian bark is sometimes what it's known by, or you'll just see quinine. But you could take that as a supplement as well with your zinc. Again, it's not a supplement that you need to take all the time, all year, but to get us through the next couple of months here, if you want to be ultra preventative, it's perhaps not a bad idea to take that with your zinc. Again, you could break the capsule open, put it into your water with the zinc. I'm a big fan of doing this, guys, breaking capsules apart. That, again, you wouldn't do this with your fat-soluble vitamins, like vitamins A, D, E, K1, and K2. You need to take that with food. Your water-soluble vitamins and minerals, I'm a big fan of putting it into like a liter bottle of water, spreading it out throughout the morning, spreading it out throughout the night. Much easier in your digestion and ability to absorb these vitamins and minerals. Then we talked a lot about testosterone and estrogen. We were talking in the context of why are more men dying than women? Well, one reason is estrogen seems to be protective for lots of diseases. One of the things they seem to be protective, one of the many things that estrogen seems to protect is actually things like the common flu and colds. Men tend to be more prone to flus and colds than women. Testosterone is implicated here. And I want to remind you all, I went on a long tangent talking about men and testosterone therapy. It is absolutely out of control how many men right now think that the answer to their, obesity, their erectile dysfunction, their lack of energy, their inability to perform in a great many things and areas is due to the fact that their testosterone is low. Your testosterone is low, men, but it's not. The answer is not to put a cream or swallow a pill or to inject testosterone into your butt. The answer is lose weight. Being lean is one of the greatest testosterone boosters. You want to know what the biggest testosterone inhibitor is? Alcohol. Just look it up, guys. I mean, come on now. What kind of a conversation are we having here? We need to recognize the most consequential things in this virus happen to be fatty liver disease, once again, high alcohol consumption, obesity, poor liver function, etc., etc., etc. All things that we've talked about. So if you want high testosterone levels, here are your hacks. Lose weight, get enough sleep, exercise, breathe correctly, learn to manage your stress. You get the idea. So guys, it would be a shame for you to be obese, drinking, not exercising, being under high stress, and taking your testosterone supplement while this COVID-19 is an outbreak, because I promise you, you're gonna make yourself more prone to this disease. I promise you that. The other thing we talked about why men are more prone to this disease is because they're just larger individuals. If you look at the body mass index, I did a whole thing on body mass index. Body mass index is the same for every body, meaning whether you're male or female, whether you're mesomorph, ectomorph, or endomorph. There needs to be a better conversation here, guys, about, what do we mean by body mass index? Because if you are a strong, fit, lean person, this is very different than somebody who's what we call skinny fat. It really comes down to the amount of fat on the body that becomes implicated here. But the bottom line is that men tend to be just larger than women, and we see that the higher the body mass index, the more likely you are to suffer from severe consequences. Never mind all the things that we know about smoking and blah, 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 blah. So again, men, we have to be extra precautious here. So reduce your alcohol. If you're on a testosterone supplement, increase it the natural ways, boys, and let's protect ourselves. We talked about the darker skin versus lighter skin. Here I am out in the sunshine on purpose. Remember, you need, the darker your skin, you need much more sunlight. I put links to how much more sunlight. It could be up to 10 times more sunlight, meaning that if you have fair skin, you could be out in the sunlight for 5 minutes. Darker skin, you may need to be out in the sunlight for 45-50 minutes in order to absorb the same amount of vitamin D. Not to keep going on a tangent here, but there are so many issues with vitamin D absorption, and if I can name one vitamin, it's really a pre-hormone. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin per se, it's more of a pre-hormone. It's in charge of about 5,000 metabolic processes, much of which is implicated in your immune system, serotonin regulation, freeing up calcium in the body, many things. But you need more vitamins. So if you're relying on sunshine to get your vitamin D, the older you are, the darker your skin, the more vitamin D you need, the more sunlight you need. So, and then you have, of course, skin exposure. If you think just like I am right here, just getting it on my face, ideally, I have my shirt off, I'm getting lots of exposure on my skin, so its surface area matters as well. If you're taking it as a supplement, remember it's fat soluble. Since it's a fat soluble vitamin, it matters how good your digestion is. It matters that you have your gallbladder removed. Can you emulsify fats via the bile? Because, guys, healthy livers, healthy gallbladders means healthy bile. If we have really terrible bile, we can't emulsify fat very well. If we have really bad stomach acid, meaning our stomach acid is too alkaline, or if we don't have enough stomach acid, you're not going to break down these fat-soluble vitamins very well. If you have gut permeability issues or gut issues just in general, all these things map onto our ability to absorb fat-soluble vitamins in general. That's A, D, E, K1, and K2. But again, vitamin D is really important here. And we talked about this issue with the darker the skin versus the lighter the skin. The vitamin D has to get into the equation, everybody. And if we're going to continue to talk here just for 1 second about the darker the skin versus the lighter the skin, I explained that especially black females are much more likely to be anemic. Okay, so this needs to be thought about as well. So when we go back to the conversation about how do we maximize iron absorption, we got to talk about vitamin C. We got to talk about possibly supplementing with iron under the proper supervision, and especially if people are going to be supplementing with zinc. All this needs to be in the equation, everybody. Talked about organ removal and how this can be consequential to how well you digest things and possible compromises to your immune system. You can go back, I talked about the tonsils and its role in creating antibodies. These are all conversations that we need to think about for the future, about how and what we're doing when we just cut people open, rip things out, and what does it mean to have a healthy body? How can we prevent these things from happening, etc., etc. So do your homework. If you have children, try to really be in front of all this stuff. We talked about mitochondrial health, how important it is to have optimized mitochondria, because, guys, mitochondria is in charge of 90 to 95% of all of the body's energy. So if your body's going to be fighting a disease of any sort, if you want an immune system that is rock star-like, you need what's called energy. And mitochondria is how we get it. I talked yesterday about the browning of fat via cold exposure. But the bottom line, guys, if you want awesome, healthy, young mitochondria, make sure you're exercising correctly. Make sure that, meaning that you're getting out and you're exercising, you're challenging yourself. You could do some HIIT work, intermittent, high intensity intermittent training, interval training rather. That means you go hard for about 10, 20, 30 seconds and then take a few minutes off. Go again for 10, 20, 30 seconds, take a few minutes off. Taking nice long walks, making sure that you're also strength training. Strength training is super critical to mitochondrial health, as well as, eating right, sleeping right, and making sure you're drinking enough water. All these things matter. We could talk about supplements for mitochondrial health for 1 second. PQQ, along with CoQ10 and/or CoQ10 and ubiquinol are the same thing. Ubiquinol is just a reduced form of CoQ10. There's lots of supplements that combine ubiquinol with PQQ. Both of these are extremely helpful for mitochondrial health. D-ribose, I'm a big fan of D-ribose, putting it into water while you train. If you have ever had any type of heart conditions or heart issues, I highly recommend putting 5 grams of D-ribose into water. If you want to learn more about this, please purchase Dr. Leno's book, who's probably the world's leading expert on mitochondrial health. He has written actually a few editions of his book. The dude is brilliant, but I'm just giving you his genius words. So, I don't know. He predicts that D-ribose is going to likely be part of the protocol, that as soon as somebody comes to the hospital with a heart attack, it's going to be right into the emergency room, and D-ribose is going to be part of the intravenous protocol. But again, you may wonder, why are they not doing it now? Well, do your research on how long it takes the medical establishment to catch up to everything. It's pretty crazy. Like, for example, high dose vitamin C IV, which we're using now. I go back and look at Linus Pauling's work, not last year, not 5 years ago, decades and decades ago. So guys, it takes a long time for lots of people to catch up. But if you do your own homework, you can start piecing puzzles together yourself. We talked a lot about amino acids. I did a whole thing on amino acids with Jordan. I suggest you go back and listen to that. Remember, amino acids are what make up your proteins that you're eating. There are certain amino acids like taurine, glycine, and we did a bunch of them that you may want to learn about and understand how they can help you to do things like sleep. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, why you would need more taurine, blah, blah, blah. Talked a lot about insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Bottom line, guys, is we need to eat a heck of a lot less sugar. We need to eat a heck of a lot less refined carbs. We just need to eat a heck of a lot less in general. Right now, the public has gotten very comfortable being behind a tray table, sitting on their couch watching Netflix, not moving their bodies, getting heavier. And this is a big problem, everybody. Drinking alcohol, etc. This all maps onto exactly what you would do if you want type 2 diabetes. Again, the estimates in America of who is pre-diabetic and or has type 2 diabetes and doesn't know it is astounding. Some experts believe that it could be 80% of the population. So when you look at who's got this thing, COVID-19, I put out a video that 23 out of 24 patients had type 2 diabetes, and the one person that didn't even bother testing because he was something like 92 years old or whatever it was. The point is, guys, if you want to predict an unhealthy body, we're talking about people that are pre-diabetic, diabetic, etc. Remember, type 2 diabetes is different than type 1. Type 1 is an autoimmune disease. We're talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 2 is what is being claimed by many experts that 80% of Americans could be type 2 diabetic. I know you're thinking, well, not me. No, probably you too. All right. So that's a lot of information. Now, here's my point. You go back and listen. Last week, I did a video on our governor, Murphy, and talking about what is being passed in terms of laws and policies. The point here, guys, is when are we going to start talking about what to do? Meaning these types of videos that I'm putting out. We're going to start teaching people how to be healthy. We're going to start teaching people how to optimize their immune system. Or we're just going to tell people, you know what? Go into the liquor store, no problem, because we don't want to manage your alcoholism. We don't want to manage the fact that when we take the alcohol away from you, you're all going to have a serious consequence of withdrawal, and we're going to now have addiction experts overwhelmed in their facilities. Again, I mean, it has nothing to do with whether I agree with the policy or disagree with the policy. What I'm saying is, please step back and listen to the conversations that we're having. Listen to what's being told to you and what's not being told to you. Please listen to the conversations that I've been trying to have with everybody for the past 35 days. And then look at what people are actually paying attention to, as opposed to this type of information. Most people are looking to be distracted. It makes you wonder what people's motivations really are under these circumstances. some people seem to be very caught up in the misery instead of looking for answers. And I hope that you guys are seeing that I'm really, really trying to guide you toward answers, toward solutions, and meaningful conversations. Guys, thank you for your time. I appreciate your attention. Please share. Have a great rest of the day.